No matter how much you use your saddle or how long it stays on the rack, it is still important to clean and condition it on a regular basis. Even though saddles and other items made of leather are in storage, they are still exposed to the elements such as heat and humidity. Over time, they will dry out and become stiff and brittle. Remember, leather does not wear out until it dries out. Keep your saddle cleaned and conditioned, and it will last for many, many years. On a regular basis, we get questions on how do you remove mold from leather. Well, what is mold anyway? The book description is it is a fungus that grows on dead or organic matter. It also states there are thousands of species of molds, and not all are bad. We are familiar with the mold that grows on things around the house, such as bread and fruit. However, when mold appears on leather, it's a different story. Normally, we just discard the things that are moldy, but here, this is a very valuable latigo strap for this saddle, and we certainly don't want to throw it away. The first thing to do to get rid of mold or mildew is to take an old t-shirt or another soft cloth and rub. Make sure you get all of the excess off onto the rag, and be sure you do both the front and the back. The next thing we do is we'll take some lemon juice and mix it with water, as you see me doing here. I will use this mixture to neutralize the mold that's on the latigo strap. And now with a damp sponge, I will just coat the strap front and back with this mixture. It's not necessary to soak it in. Just after you have allowed the lemon juice to dry pretty well, take your soft cloth and wipe the strap down. Depending upon the situation, I would now, if it was hand-tooled leather or something like that, I'd probably use Lexol as a conditioner. Since this is a latigo strap, I'm going to use the 100% pure neat's foot oil, and I will apply this with a piece of sheep wool, and I will of course do front and back. It's better to do several light coats than it is one heavy coat. So I would suggest you do a light coat, come back later and give it a second application of the neat's foot oil. And that's all there is to getting rid of the mold. Since this is a padded and suede seat, we do not want to use any liquids on there, so we'll just clean it with a good horsehair brush and just brush all of the dirt out of there. Before we can start cleaning and oiling a saddle, first thing we should do is remove all of the strap goods, as you see me doing here. And it's also a good idea to remove the fender and the stirrup leathers. To properly clean and oil a saddle, it's a good idea to also lift the seat jockey, as you see me doing here, and of course that makes it a lot easier to remove the stirrup leathers. And one thing you need to be certainly cognizant of is the health of the stirrup leathers. Are they no cracks or anything like that? If they're too dry, now is the time to consider replacing the stirrup leathers. To start the cleaning process, I'll first take a soft cloth or a brush and get all of the loose dirt off of the surface. Next, I'll take some clean water and some mild soap, and I will begin kind of scrubbing. And then I'll immediately dry it up a little bit. For the washing process, you need to get up under here, but not as much as we will when we get to the oiling. Now I will take a clean sponge and rinse the surface. Again, I'll take my rag and the next step is to clean all of our leather with saddle soap. In this case, we can use either the glycerine saddle soap, which is in a spray bottle, or we can use the old standby saddle soap. So today, I think we'll use the old standby. It's just a matter of working up a lather with a damp sponge, and then just like we did with the mild soap, we will scrub down all of the parts of the saddle. And as we did before, we'll scrub it down real good. And then we will come back with our rag and wipe off the excess. And we'll let this dry, and we'll come back and wipe it again. Now, since this saddle soap is also a conditioner, we will also use it up under and make sure we get that covered very well. Get up as far as you can underneath the seat. We will also do this up under the gullet with the saddle soap. Like I said, we are also conditioning with this. To use the glycerin saddle soap, it's just a matter of spraying it, as you see here. Come back with the sponge and work it around. And just as we did before, take our rag, wipe it down, let it dry, then we'll come back and wipe it again. And finally, I'm going to use Lexol to do the oiling on this saddle, mainly because it's a tooled saddle. If it was a plain saddle or a rough out, I would probably just use neat's foot oil. Now, be very diligent. We need to get up under here and make sure we oil everything we can possibly reach. This is very important. Also up under the gullet. Now we will let this dry, and then we'll come back for a final buffing. And now, as you can see, we have a really nice, clean, good-looking saddle. We'll do all of the strap goods and the fenders. We'll put it back together. And now we will do the same procedure to all the strap goods you see laying on the table here as we did those on the saddle. Conditioning the fenders is very, very important. I'm going to use Lexol on the part here that's tooled, and we'll do that just like we did the rest of the saddle. After it has allowed to dry, we can then take our soft cloth and clean it up. Now, it's also important for the fender that we do the back, making sure you get in there as best you can, and it's best to lift up the stirrup leather and condition it as best you can everywhere. This is the same thing to all of the other strap goods, treating both inside and outside, and make sure you get down in these areas here by the loop, and of course we're going to treat the loop as well. And of course we're using the Lexol now, so we'll wipe it down and buff it up. Do this to all of your strap goods. Lexol on the ones that are tooled, and neat foot oil on everything else.